everyone. Thank you for joining me in another executive interview. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Helen, Tarrant, and Stephen Johnson, the directors of Unikorn Capital. We'll be exploring the innovative approach to bringing high-quality commercial property investments to everyday investors. Helen, thanks for joining me.
Lovely to be here.
Now, Helen, you have built an impressive commercial property portfolio, and that has helped clients source over $500 million in commercial property investments. So can you tell us what actually inspired you to establish Unikorn Capital and launch the Unikorn Property Fund?
Well, I came into commercial property in 2016. I started educating everyday Australians on how to invest in commercial property. So allowing everyday Australians to have access to investing in commercial property just like they would in residential. From there, we built a buyer's agency, and then we started doing syndicated deals because our clients wanted to come together and do bigger and better deals. But they all knew each other because they were going to meetups and going to our events. And eventually we realized that actually one of the things that we wanted to do was make commercial property accessible for everyday Australians, but mainly relatable projects. So not the $300 million building or the shopping centre, but relatable projects that they could almost drive past and see all the time. So for example, our flagship project in Blacktown, it's like people live around there. They know it, or they have family members. So for them, it's an exciting project for them to literally be able to drive there and see it, right? And we wanted to bring that relatability so people know that they're a part of something, right? And that's why I decided to launch the fund. And we decided to go down the road of launching a retail fund versus a wholesale fund because we wanted to really increase the wealth and the education level of everyday Australians. So we wanted more Australians to have access to it, to be part of like a bigger picture, right? So that's why we've launched a Unikorn Property Fund, and the idea is it's going to have multiple properties in there that resounds with our ethos, which is cash flow, growth, and uplift.
Amazing, very exciting indeed. And it's, it's really fascinating to see that how your experience has actually led to this venture. Now, Helen, the fund aims to give everyday investors access to high quality commercial properties like you mentioned. And I wanted to now dive deeper into the Blacktown Shopping Center that you've talked about. So can you explain how it actually exemplifies this mission?
So the fund itself is about giving people access to properties and deals that they can relate to. It also has the elements of cash flow, growth, and uplift, right? So Blacktown itself is one of the fastest growing areas in Sydney, and almost 1 in 5 people have someone or know someone that lives there, right? Or have lived there themselves. So everyone knows where it is. And so there is already an association. And what's currently there is an old shopping centre that's been there for 25 years, hasn't been touched, but the land's really flat. It's got a great zoning, which allows you to build almost anything if you've got the right car parking ratios. And the council are very pro to the development because they can see the growth of the area and in need of a bigger shopping centre. And so in that, it will have the growth component. So, and also the uplift, because once we get the new tenants in there, they'll have the cash flow that comes in for our investors. But there's also growth in the back end because it's so hard to secure 10,000 square meters of land in Sydney, in a growing, developing area. And then on top of that, the uplift, which is one of the fundamentals of all of our property deals, is in that we're repositioning everything in that area. So we're going to have an anchor tenant, but we're also going to have tenants that resounds with the locals, right? So there's some people that's already on that site. There's a very good kebab shop that's going to go back in. There is the local medical centre who's intending to come back in. So those people who are already servicing the community are coming back in. So it's got to have that drive that has that uplift in the background in terms of having anchor tenants, but also that community feel as well. So it really resounds with our ethos.
Amazing. And it's really interesting to see how you're making these opportunities more accessible to the public. Well, thank you, Helen, for sharing your vision and the mission behind Unikorn Capital. For our viewers watching, now we are going to hear from her co-director, Stephen Johnson, about the technical details and the construction strategy of this groundbreaking project. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, Rhythm.
It's great to have you join us for this conversation.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for giving us the time.
Absolutely. Now, Stephen, I understand that you have secured a letter of offer from Coles and Liquorland as your anchor tenants. So can you tell us how crucial is this early commitment and what interest are you seeing from other potential tenants?
Well, look, having an anchor tenant in any development is absolutely crucial. The last thing you want to be doing is building something that no one wants to rent, right? That's an absolute train wreck. There's two really dangerous points when you're doing a development. The first is if you buy the land and you borrow money against that land, then you're sitting there paying the bank interest and you've got no income. So while you're waiting for your DA, it is best to own your land outright, and that way you're not spending a lot of money on interest, which can blow your costs out. The second part to it is if you've got an anchor tenant in, it does two things. Firstly, when you finish your development, it gives you someone who's going to come in straight away and rent. But someone like the caliber of Coles and Liquorland, it brings in other tenants, and we have literally got people queuing up and sending us emails to get into this thing and saying, hey, we've seen what you're buying, we've seen what you're doing, we really want to be part of it. So there's so much, it's created so much interest, it's not funny. In a development, someone like Coles, they bring in the foot traffic, people who want to come in and rent your space.
Absolutely. Very key points you raised there, Stephen.
Thank you.
Now, you have emphasized several de-risking strategies in this project. So could you elaborate on how the simple design approach and the choice of location in Blacktown's growing market, as Helen also told us earlier, how does it help minimize development risks?
Well, the thing about a development, and people seem to think it's all this really complicated process, and the technical details behind it are quite complicated. But the reality is what you're doing is you're buying some land, building something on it with the aim of renting it out. You want a lot of people to live in that area and that area to be growing so that you can encourage tenants such as Coles to come in, rent the space, and they know that they're going to have more people come in and buy their products, and that lets them pay us rent. So it's a growing area, really helps to build a long-term capital growth in the project. The second thing we're doing is we're increasing the height of the overall project. So that way the whole bottom level becomes car park, and then the shop becomes at road level. So it increases the exposure. Blacktown Road is one of the most important roads in that area. The next thing we're doing is we're doing a very simple design that lets us build it fast. It lets us build it relatively cheaply. But moreover, the two things in any project, you don't want a complicated design because it increases the time it takes to build it. And the other thing is if it's more complicated, it's harder for people to get their head around. It can increase your cost overruns. And the last thing you want to do in any development is increase time overruns or cost overruns because they mess up your profits.
Makes sense. And it's really compelling to hear about those safety measures that you're taking. Now, Stephen, with the Walker Corporation investing $2 billion in the Blacktown Center nearby, how do you see this broader development amplifying the value proposition of your shopping center?
Well, the Blacktown area that they're going to do this development is roughly 3 kilometres away from our site. So by having them spend all of this money over here, it's going to encourage more and more people to live in Blacktown. That encourages more and more people who are going to want to drive past our site. And our site is a neighbourhood centre. So that's not like your Westfield type shopping centre where people go when it's a destination and they spend ages there and do everything. This is an in and out type shopping centre. So you might go in the morning, drop the kids off to the childcare centre, have a cup of coffee with your friends, go to Coles, buy some bits and pieces, maybe go to the doctor. It's about fast, efficient shopping. It's about local neighbourhood centre shopping, and it's about in and out, not a long-term process. So Walker Corp and all of these people are spending a lot of money over there. It's going to build that area up, but that is going to bring more and more people to the area because it's going to improve the amenity, the services for the whole area, and a lot more people just want to live there.
Absolutely, and I understand, and that really helps put the opportunity in context.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the project timeline through to the completion in June 2028, what key construction and development milestones should investors be aware of?
Sure. Look, there's 3 or 4 main kind of milestones that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is finish the design and get the development application formally lodged in council, and we're looking at doing that in March, so that's only 2-3 months time to get that thing into council and organised. We've allowed in our timetable 18 months to get a development application from council, and that goes back to your previous question about what are we doing to de-risk the process. Well, we're trying to make sure that the project fits between the council guidelines, and that way we're not spending ages and ages fighting about, oh, we want to overdo this and overdo that. If it fits in the rules, it is normally faster to get it approved. So 18 months we've allowed for development application. Then as soon as we finished getting the development application approved, we want to start construction straight away. Now, if we get this right, we should be able to do this in October 2026. So, and then that gives us roughly another 18 months to do construction, and all going well, we'll finish the build by March 2028. The tenants have then got 3 months to move their stuff in, do the fit out, and then middle of 2028, the project should be ready, finished, tenanted, and rent should be being paid.
Amazing, very exciting,
Yeah.
indeed, for sure.
Well, absolutely. There's always little challenges and things that go wrong, but it's about us trying to work within the rules, work within the framework, trying to de-risk the project as much as is humanly possible, and be prepared and on board ready so that if something does come up, our team gets straight onto it, fix it, to move forwards and progress everything.
Amazing. Well, to our viewers watching this interview, if you would like to get in touch with the team at Unikorn, please see the details at the side of your screen or in the description of this video. And once again, thank you, Stephen, for providing these wonderful insights into your development opportunity.
No, Rhythm, thank you for having us here. We think it's a great project, and we're looking forward to working with you guys to make this a success for everybody involved.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.